What are the top 4 mistakes you can avoid to ensure you're getting high quality sleep every night? Well, in this video, I'm going to be going over some of these things in great detail, and they build upon each other. So don't skip around and stick around till the end for a bonus. The first mistake is going to bed overstimulated. In this section of the video, I'm going to break down each common stimulant and why it is negatively affecting your sleep and show you some scientific research for my points. Let's start with caffeine. So, caffeine negatively affects your sleep by blocking the adenosine receptors. Adenosine is a sleep chemical that is produced in the brain during the waking hours. Normally, adenosine builds up in the brain when we're awake. The more it builds up, the more sleepy we become. When caffeine blocks this process, we remain alert and vigilant. Research has also shown that caffeine interferes with the circadian melatonin rhythms, delaying the onset of sleep if consumed too close to bedtime. You may be saying, well, Cole, I drink caffeine all the time and fall asleep fine at night. Well, let me address that and why caffeine close to bed is still bad even if you can fall asleep. Caffeine impacts the onset of sleep and reduces sleep time, efficiency, and satisfaction levels. Caffeine notably reduces the time of slow wave sleep, which is the stage of deep sleep, restful sleep that leaves us feeling refreshed and alert in the morning. So caffeine interrupted sleep can lead us to sleep deprivation following day, which shows up by fatigue and problems learning, memory, problem solving, and emotional regulation. One study examined the effects of caffeine intake at 0, 3, and 6 hours before bedtime and found that even caffeine consumed 6 hours before bed could reduce sleep time by an hour. In addition, study participants reported sleeping problems when they consumed caffeine 0 to 3 hours before bed, but they did not realize their sleep was also being disrupted when consuming caffeine 6 hours before bed. If you have difficulty sleeping, consider limiting any caffeine intake 8 to 6 hours before bed. Do I consume caffeine? Nah. Fuck that. Just kidding. But I used to drink a lot of caffeine, energy drinks, coffee, all that stuff throughout the day, mostly before work or a workout. Nowadays, I've cut back on that a lot, and I drink this thing called Mudwater. Mudwater is a mushroom coffee alternative made with organic ingredients for their health and performance benefits with a fraction of the caffeine found in coffee. You get focus, energy, and immunity without the jitters and crashes. I'm not sponsored by Mudwater by any means, but I am an advocate for it. So if you're seeing this Mudwater, consider sponsoring me. Or I'll drink some tea in the morning, but other than that, I won't have too much caffeine throughout the day. But to get through that midday slump without running back to caffeine, consider taking a nap, 30 to 90 minutes, or laying down for a short meditation. Drink more water and electrolytes, do some exercise. I just suggest staying away from the caffeine later in the day because it will make falling asleep much harder. Let's talk about weed. Should you use cannabis as a sleep aid? Some people say weed helps them sleep, but does that mean you should build up a dependency on it? I don't think so. Let's dive into the research. Weed appears to improve sleep in certain areas for people with certain conditions such as chronic pain and PTSD. Cannabis may help you fall asleep faster, wake up less during the night, and enjoy better quality of sleep overall. Some studies have found a distinction between daily users and less frequent non-daily users in how weed affects their sleep. Those who use weed daily are more likely to report more sleep problems than occasional users or people who do not use weed at all. Non-daily users report fewer sleep problems than both daily users and non-daily users. So if it works for non-daily users, how does weed work as a sleep aid? It is believed that the sleep promoting effects of the cannabinoids are due to their interactions with the cannabinoid receptors in the brain. When cannabinoids bind to these receptors, they send messages to increase levels of sleep promoting adenosine levels and suppress the brain's arousal arousal system. Together, these effects may help cannabis users feel sedated or sleepy. While THC typically acts as a sedative, it can have a stimulating effect on some people, especially those who are new to using cannabis or taking higher doses. In these cases, using cannabis before bed may result in longer time falling asleep, but CBD appears to promote alertness at lower doses and sleepiness at higher doses. Does cannabis affect your sleep quality? In addition to helping you fall asleep faster, cannabis may alter your sleep structure, a term that describes how long you can spend in different sleep stages. Short-term cannabis use appears to increase the time you spend in deep sleep, the stage that helps you wake up feeling refreshed. However, THC decreases the amount of time you spend dreaming, processing emotions, or cementing new memories, hence why potheads can kind of seem like airheads. So to come to a conclusion on this, I've been in both stages. I've been a daily pot smoker, and I've been a non-daily one where I took a break for several months, over a half a year. And I'd say by far, when I'm not using it daily, my sleep is better. But I do want to add some additional thoughts. When I was doing it most of the time, like daily, sometimes I'd be hanging out with friends late at night and going out to parties. And that obviously doesn't promote good sleep with or without weed. So use this in moderation and lean more towards CBD supplements at night rather than THC. And I'd say the same applies here. Don't really use this right before bed. It's different than caffeine unless you're trying to wake and bake. But I'd say midday use of THC in smaller doses wouldn't overall be that harmful. And if you don't really even do it, then I'd honestly avoid it for the most part. We'll dive into nicotine and alcohol in another video, so if you'd be interested in seeing that, subscribe and turn on post notifications. Not having a consistent sleep schedule, so learning how to discipline yourself. I'd say this point applies 80% of the time or more. I could also put it this way: you should have a default sleep schedule for when you try to go to bed and wake up. This means if you don't have plans that require you to stay up later into the night or up pretty early in the morning, then you should default to this sleep schedule and try to stick to it to the best of your abilities. Personally, mine is going to bed around 11 p.m. to 12 a.m. at the latest and waking up around 8 a.m. This allows me to get a solid 8 to 9 hours of sleep each night. I feel best when I tend to have more sleep, having more money in my bank account, and everything is going smoothly at work. So it doesn't all have to do with sleep. What can really affect a consistent sleep schedule is a stressful life event or money troubles that cause you to just really stress about what is happening. And then when your head hits the pillow at night, it's like, it's just like, how do I deal with all this stuff? So that stressor will come and disrupt your mind at night and sleep. At this point, you'll just want to try and forget about it, what it is like stressing you out and all that, and try and address it and take care of it the next day so you won't have to deal with it anymore. Not working out enough or working out too much. So my full-time job is a personal trainer, and I can tell you from experience that a lack of exercise will definitely affect your sleep. But the same is true for working out too much. You don't see it as often, but working out too much or too close to bed will hinder your sleep as well. Check out this study where they took 40 adults with poor quality sleep. They were randomized into both a exercise group and a control group. Each exercise program consisted of 40 minutes of supervised aerobic activity training and 10 minutes of stretching class, so 3 times a week for 12 weeks. The exercise class showed significant improvements in their scores. The results indicate that moderate intensity exercise training had a beneficial effect on sleep quality and all that good stuff. So really, you don't even have to exercise all that much to reap the benefits. But if you're like me, then you try and exercise pretty much every day to reap those benefits. Some days we'll exercise more and some days we'll exercise less. eating too much or too little before bed. Let's jump into this last point. Eating too much will hinder your sleep by making it uncomfortable to go to sleep because you'll feel bloated and your stomach will be digesting the food, taking away your ability to sleep well. You may not realize it, but your body is working subconsciously pretty hard to digest this food, and digesting food actually takes up a lot of energy out of you. But the same is true for not eating enough. I wouldn't say it is bad as eating a lot, because this can simply be solved by eating a small snack or drinking a glass of water to curb your hunger. What I feel like is most ideal is having a big dinner around 4 hours before bed. Then once I'm full, stop eating and leave some leftovers for later, then go on a night walk, do some more work, read a book, honestly whatever. Then 1 to 2 hours before bed, come back and eat the rest of the leftovers. Here's the bonus. So the bonus is temperature. So the temperature of your environment when you sleep really affects the quality of it. So play around with it and try and find what works best for you. But my suggestion is to keep it more on the cool side of things. If you can keep it below 70 degrees, I'd say that's pretty good. If you'd like to see more examples on how you can get higher quality sleep and boost your days full of energy and dramatically enhance your life, click on this video next. Once you know this, your sleep will be impeccable.